Today we are going to be speaking about why you should still do creative work even though AI can do it better. The first reason why you should do creative work is because creative work is human work. When you think about humanity, what comes to your mind? When you think about what it is to be human, what comes to your mind? For me, it is our innate ability to create, to innovate, to take the materials of our past and try to reinvent it. Think of romance movies, for example, or even horrors and thrillers and mysteries. They all have the same premise. Many of them have the same premise. Yes, we watch these movies, we read these books, not just because of the way they make us feel, and obviously that is part of it, but also, I believe, because we want to see the ways in which we can reinvent the same story, we want to see the ways in which we can reinvent the formula. And that is what I think being human is. Also, take housing for example. The way we build houses have changed drastically, and I don't always think that we change for the better as humans. Sometimes we do not change for the better, but there is undoubtedly innovation in the way we build houses, in the way we dress, in the way we transport ourselves. We are innately creative. So human work is creative. Every now and then we hear stories or news articles, we read news articles about archaeologists uncovering artifacts from ancient civilization. And one thing that has endured through all this time, that I think has endured, is our artwork. Our ability for art, I believe, is transcendental. Our ability for creativity is what makes us human. And I would argue that it's our tendency to lean into art and creativity and creation that separates humanity from other animals. Our ancestors used music and dancing and artworks and sculptures and even hairstyle to tell stories. Parents use stories to instruct their children. Art, creativity, creation, the art of creation is, in my opinion, what elevated the human consciousness, and in my opinion, it is very essential for maintaining that elevated states of consciousness. And speaking of elevated consciousness, creativity is one of the easiest ways that we can enter into the flow state. And the flow state is a term that was coined by the Hungarian psychologist Mihaly C. I'm just going to say C because I cannot pronounce his surname. And it is defined, or can be described as, a state of complete immersion into a task. In his book, The Psychology of Happiness, Mihaly postulated that the best moment usually occurred when a person's body or mind was stretched to its limit in a voluntary effort to achieve something difficult or worthwhile. His investigations showed that, contrary to popular assumption that we're happiest while resting, a lot of people's happiness peaks occurred during a time of very intense focus. And creativity is one of the easiest ways that we can focus. Creativity, the art of creation, whether it be painting or illustrations or music or YouTube videos, it allows for us to focus, it allows for the world to fall away and for us to get into this intense state of focus and altered sense of time, which is the flow state, and which brings a feeling of fulfillment. Another reason why I think we should all lean into creativity regardless of the invention of AI is that creativity helps us to process our lives. And I think that processing our lives, the stories of our life, is very important for us to be mentally stable. Whether the good things that have happened to us or the bad things, we need to process them. I think it's very essential for us to process our lives. And one of the ways that we do that is when we lean into art, whether through music, whether through telling a story or illustration. A lot of artists draw from their personal life experience in order to make their art. And when we lean into art, we are able to process the stories of our life. When you write a story, draw from your life, whether happy moment or sad moment, it is a way to process the story of your life. It is a way to make sense of your human experience. I think that it's not just beneficial for the creative, but for the consumers also. For example, when I lost my mom, for a while I didn't cry because I was living with family and friends at the time, and I really appreciated, people opening up their homes to me, it was really good for me to leave my own family house to go and stay with extended family and friends. But I didn't cry throughout the period that I was with people. For the most part, I didn't cry because I didn't want to make them uncomfortable. What I didn't realize was that by not crying, I would grow numb, and I grew so numb, and at some point I just wanted to feel anything, but I wasn't able to. It was not until I was able to come back home that I was able to finally cry. But it was not as simple as just coming back home. It was shows, it was movies, it was books that helped me. Shows like Anne with an E, shows with depth and shows with emotional depth, shows with complex characters, shows with loss and grief. Those were the shows that helped me cry. And I realized as I cried that I was not just crying about the characters, I was crying for myself. I was crying for my own grief. And it was then that healing started. And so that is the importance of creativity for humans. That is the importance of human-led creativity. It helps not just the makers to be able to process their own life, but the people who consume their work. So that is why we should not abandon human creativity. Another thing that art and creativity can do for us is teach us empathy. In order to tell a story, we need to enter into the minds of different characters. We need to walk in their shoes. We need to see from their eyes. I know a lot of people might consider empathy a weakness, but empathy is very crucial for our world to exist. Empathy is what makes communities band around their weakest. The old or the young, the widows and the widowers, the orphan baby. Empathy is what makes us band around them and take care of them. Empathy looks at unsavory stories and situations and says, this could be me. It goes even further to say, what will I want to be done for me if I were in this person's shoes? Empathy also helps us understand how monsters are forged from humans and helps us to mitigate it. Another reason why you should lean into creativity is because creativity is fun. I don't know about you, but I'm very jealous about my fun, very jealous about my own pleasure. And I never quite bought into the idea of sacrificing fun on the altar of adulthood. And boy, do I have fun. And it's the same with creativity and AI. I never quite bought into the subtle push to let AI have all the fun of creation. So that is it. Creation is fun. Go have fun. Creativity is fun. Go have fun. That will be all for today's video. If you want to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.